It started with a phone call every night at exactly 2:14 a.m. There was no number on the screen, and no one answered when she said hello. It was just breathing. It was faint, slow, and deliberate. At first, she thought it was just a wrong number, but she thought it odd that it was so late in the middle of the night. But when it happened again, the next night, and then the next, she began to notice something horrifying. The faint breathing that she heard on the other end was in sync with her own. Her name was Mara. She lived alone in a small apartment. You know, the kind of place where the refrigerator hums louder than your own thoughts. The first few nights, she hung up right away. And of course, she blocked the number, and she deleted the call logs, but it didn't matter. At 2:14 a.m., every night, the phone would ring again. Instinctively, sometimes she'd wake up seconds before it happened, as if her body already knew what was about to happen. Finally, she got the courage to answer the call. "Who is this?" A voice whispered something so quiet on the other end. She almost thought she imagined it. The voice said, "Please stop answering." She tried everything. She bought new phones. She switched cell phone carriers. She changed her numbers multiple times. And still, the calls came at exactly 2:14 a.m. every single night. She started recording the calls, but every recording failed to capture any breathing. It didn't capture any voices, but it just produced a loud static. But then the voice on the other end of the phone began to change. Sometimes it sounded very familiar. She realized it sounded like her own voice. It whispered her name. It begged her not to answer the phone again. It cried softly, like someone mourning themselves. She told her friend Clara about the calls. Clara just laughed, and she said it was probably a prank. So Mara let her stay over that night, just to prove it. When the clock hit 2:14 a.m., Mara's cell phone rang. Clara then grabbed it first, playful, fearless. She said, "Hello?" Her smile faded instantly. Then slowly, Clara turned pale. She said she heard Mara's voice screaming on the other end. But Mara hadn't said a word. After that night, the voice grew desperate. Sometimes it sobbed. Sometimes it whispered warnings. "It's here now. Don't turn around. It's almost at your door. You shouldn't have answered." The final straw came one night when Mara allowed her cell phone battery to run out and the phone turned off. The screen was completely black. And it still rang at 2:14 a.m. There was no power to the phone. The battery was dead, but the screen lit up anyway, glowing bright in the dark. The caller ID on the screen read, Mara. She didn't want to answer. Every part of her screamed to not answer, but the voice had warned her before, and she wanted to know what it was. With shaking hands, she picked up. This time, there was no breathing, no whisper, just her own voice saying calmly, "Listen carefully. You have 10 seconds. And silence. In the distance, from somewhere inside her apartment, another phone began to ring. It wasn't her cell phone. It sounded like a landline, but she didn't have a landline. It was coming from the other side of the bedroom wall. She followed the sound. Her heart was pounding, and her footsteps were soft on the carpet. Behind the wall was a small storage closet that she never used. She opened it slowly, and the ringing stopped. Inside that room was an old rotary phone, but it wasn't plugged in anywhere. The receiver, it was off of the hook, swinging gently, as if someone had just set it down. She picked it up, and this time, the voice wasn't hers. It whispered in an ominous, guttural voice.
I told you not to answer.
Then came the sound of static collapsing in on itself, and the world went black. The next morning, Clara came by. The door was unlocked. The apartment was quiet, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator. Mara's cell phone sat on her bedside table. The screen lit up at 2:14 p.m. One missed call. Caller ID. It read empty. Then Clara began to hear a phone ring. It sounded like it was a landline. It sounded like it was coming from somewhere behind Mara's bedroom wall.